Oh hey, this is Stead Holbrook, editor of the Bohemian. Welcome to another episode of the Bohemian Life. Today we're at Petaluma Hills Brewery in Petaluma, California, and we are learning all about beer.
I started brewing in 1991. My wife bought me a homebrew kit for Christmas. It's been a hobby ever since then. I've been praised for having gumption for opening up across Lagunitas, but it was not my intent. One of my investors is the landlord, he owns the building, and he actually approached me with the space. And at first I said, no, I don't want to be across the street. I don't want people to think I'm derivative. I knew my beers were different and they would stand apart, but people would get confused with the location. And he kind of worked me for 3 months and kept at it and kept at it. And finally, when he told me that he was looking to invest also, it's like, oh, well, maybe I will rent that space. This is the brew house. This is where the beer is made. It's actually a fairly compact space. And the interesting thing about that is if you go to other breweries, I have a lot more space than they do. It's amazing. For me, the goal is always to produce a full-bodied, flavorful, well-balanced ale. After the cooking process, the beer is knocked out into the fermenters here. So I've got 4 fermenters. Fermenter 1, this is ready to go into a bright tank, which is the next stage after you ferment. The bright tank is where the beer clarifies and we can carbonate in the bright tank. And then from there we package it either into bottles or to kegs. It wasn't in the plans, but it's kind of become a family business. My oldest son lived in Florida, and I called him up one day and said, hey, come help me build the tap room. And he agreed, and my youngest son was already tending bar elsewhere, and that was kind of planned for him to run the tap room. And then my daughter decided she wanted to work with me. So today we bottled the Line and Twine IPA and the Red Tag Ale for the first time. The bottling line's a mobile bottling line, so they pulled up with a truck this morning, rolled out all their equipment into the brew house. I had all the bottles all set up, and it's a pretty nifty thing. You really get into this nice rhythm. We managed to bottle 250 cases of beer today in about 3 hours. The Line and Twine we only have in the bottle today, so we're going to do 22 ounces for $6. And I'm trying to put more of the educational aspect of craft beer in front of people. You'll produce off flavors through fermentation, and the dead yeast cells will actually soak up the chemicals that produce that flavor. So you can't take the yeast off too early, because you need to soak up those flavors. Oh, nice pour. Good job. This is the Petaluma, my favorite of my beers. This is my first recipe that I made, and I've always loved this beer. This one is on nitro, so it's a slightly different version that is, I don't want to say chug, it's more quaffable. It's easier to go down when you put a beer on nitro. I'm not going to wait anymore.
It's beautiful too.
So I would try the stout, try the porter on nitro, and then finish with the lamp. So just a sip from each would be enough to help you get the differences of each of the beers. One thing that nitro will do is will tone down some of the flavors. So maybe I'll get a little chocolate in the next sip. One of the rules I always had for my kids was you don't have to do what I do. You could be different. You know, I picked what I do. My life is, for me, you pick what you're comfortable with, you know, find your strengths and stuff. And the fact that they all wound up working for me at the brewery is kind of cool because it happened on its own.